What's up guys, it's Craft Phoenix back with another video today, and today is the last part of the Q&A. So today is the miscellaneous questions Q&A, and it's May 28th, Saturday. Today, technically I'm filming this the day before, but on Saturday, which is today when you're watching this, I'm actually going to the Orchid Show, and I'll be doing like my day in the life video then. Expect to meet one of my buddies, he's coming with me, and we'll have some fun. So stay tuned for the rest of the Q&A. Alright you guys, so I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but I have an odd feeling that it's going to be quite a long one. I have a lot of questions here, and I want to answer them all. So I'm going to be going through them pretty quickly, so if I have anything to elaborate on, I can do that later on and potentially another video, depending on what it is. So stay tuned and let's get started. So our first question comes from Swagmaster720. What car would you have? Please answer. I don't know. I'm not like the hugest car guy. If I had to pick one, I would have to say, if we're going like retro cars, I would have to say probably a 67 Mustang. And if we're going newer cars, then probably either the new Audi R8 or the new like Audi A7 or whatever they are. Just any Audi. I really like the body style of Audis, so there you go. Risky Business 21 says, do you have any advice? I started a YouTube channel and I don't think people will take me serious because I'm 12. Honestly, yes. That's probably what's going to happen because you are so young. You might think you know a lot and you might do research, but you don't have a ton of experience. That's the thing. And I mean, I started my YouTube channel when I was probably a little bit older, maybe 13 or 14, something like that. It's just grown. So just start small, make videos that you want to watch, and you'll eventually grow. With age will come knowledge and then a little bit more respect from people when they're watching your videos, because just because you are so young, that can hold you back from a lot of different things. Don't be upset about it. It's just what happens. As you grow up, things will become easier. Jacob E asks, when you sleep, how noisy is it? And if it is, how do you deal with it? So when I sleep, I assume you're talking like the dart frogs. And they're all diurnal, so they all call during the day, as you can hear. And they're also crepuscular, which I believe is active at dawn and dusk. So they will be calling typically early in the morning and like at nighttime, so I wouldn't be too worried about nighttime noise. Now, crickets are another story. They can be quite loud, and for the first like several years, I was not used to them, and now I'm used to them. I just kind of tune them out and don't really care about them anymore. So when I sleep, it's not that noisy, and when it is, I'm just used to it. Oh, again, we got the Cajun Gan Gamer. He says, will you ever get a dog? Also, I want a beardy crusty as my first reptile. Which do you recommend more? Will I ever get a dog? Maybe. I don't know. I've always grown up with cats, so I'm more of a cat guy. But I also really love dogs, so who knows? Maybe I'll have both in the future. As for the beardy or the crusty, honestly, they're two very different animals. I do have a video on my channel if you want to go check it out of like best beginner lizards. Go check that out and make your own decision. Research both. Find out which one you like more. Gerard Milne? I don't know. What would you do if you had $1,000? What would you buy reptile-wise? Like improve your gear or get another reptile? Could you use my Insta name Milne TGB if you use this question? With $1,000, honestly, I don't know. I'd probably get like a new tripod and stuff. Most of the animals that I'm looking at now, like some of the larger animals that I want and stuff like that, are very expensive, like $700, $800, $900. So I can't really get that much. And especially in my space, honestly, I'd probably just upgrade my gear. I do plan on getting a new camera pretty soon here, besides my camera that I'm using now and my other like DSLR. The Cajun Gang Gamer, he says, one more question. Have you graduated college? If so, what is your career? If not, what do you want your career to be? So here in Canada, we call college university, and I know they're kind of switched. Like university here is 4 years to however many years that you need to complete your degree, and it's just that. It's university, not college, but I have not graduated yet. I finished my second year this year, so I probably have 3 years left because I'm taking 5 years instead of 4. And honestly, I'm really hoping to be like a zoologist or just specialize in like either conservation, zoology, herpetology, something like that. And from there, hopefully work at the zoo. If not, like Exoterra or something like that as one of their zoologists or biologists or whatever. That would be really cool. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't really know though. Mehmet Ozgenik says, do you work at a pet store? How many different animals are there? Yes, I work at a pet store. It's one of the largest in the world. It's called Pisces Pet Emporium. You can Google it and see what's there. We have monkeys. We have a huge koi pond and waterfall. We have over like 750 tanks, like fish tanks. We have a huge reptile section. We have saltwater. We have koi. We have all that. There's a lot of animals there. So Jacob E asks, has any of your animals gotten loose? And yes, they have. If you don't know who Moose is, you can go back to my old videos, like when I first moved down here in like, I think maybe February 2014, something like that. Then I have Moose and Bean, the day geckos. Moose has gotten out a couple times, and when Bowser was actually in the planted tank, he managed to work his way open and get out and run around my room for the day. So that was kind of scary. But yes, some of them have gotten out. Next question comes from Squeegee Reptiles. He says, are you going to get fish for the shrimp tank? No. Simple as that. I don't really want fish in there. I'm breeding shrimp. Honestly, once I'm kind of done with it, which I don't know when that's going to be, I'll probably get a saltwater tank. That is what I really want. Like, they're so cool. I hope to have a reef tank sometime in the future. Let's put it that way. Don't Subscribe says, okay, I have 3 questions, if that's not too many. 1, what is the reason you started doing YouTube? 2, do the LED lights in Sky's cage bother Sky, or does the difference in color have no effect on him? And finally, are you going to use that scale for Sheldon when he is 105 kilograms? Well, he'll never get that big, so it doesn't really matter. The second question, the LEDs, no, they don't seem to bug him at all, so I don't mind. And then why I started YouTube was because I just wanted to make videos and reach an audience. Like, I wanted to make the reptile community better as a whole and more united. Like, all in all, I have a pretty good community that watches my videos. There's not a lot of hate. Everybody can help each other, and I think we're all kind of friends here. So it's really nice, the community that I've raised, and I think it's all because of you guys, honestly. That's why I started, was because of you guys. I wanted to make videos and have some fun on YouTube. Sybil Aksu, if you were to be one reptile/amphibian in your room, what would you be? I don't know. That's Weston Bennion says, do you want a tarantula or a scorpion? So this question was asked quite a few times, and I'll just skip over it if I see it again. But no, I don't really want any of those, honestly. I have no problem with tarantulas or scorpions. I just don't really have a desire to keep them, to be completely honest. They don't really interest me that much. Pickle asks, would you ever get a Pac-Man frog, or have you ever, and what is your thoughts? I don't think I personally would get a Pac-Man frog. I'm actually looking after a house right now for my buddy, and he's got 2 of them. They are just kind of meh. Like, they're very cool frogs, and they're kind of bottomless pits, but like, I don't know why I would get one of those when I have these right behind me, and these are A, a lot more active, B, arguably brighter colors, and can live in a much more naturalistic terrarium, where Pac-Man frogs are just kind of sinkholes, and they'll dig things up, and they'll bury, and I don't think I would ever have them, but I also think they're pretty cool. Like, for people that like them, good on you. Like, I can see why you like them. Next question is from Edgar Lopez. He says, do you have any career plans? I've already answered that, so yeah. There you go. Stevie Reptile says, what fave your dream reptile? I love your frog setup. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I assume, like, what is your favorite reptile setup? And so I assume that's, like, what is my, like, dream reptile? I don't know. Probably, like, the whole rainbow of tree monitors. Those are something that I really want to get into. Killer Clown 79 says, do you bake your substrate for your reptile enclosures? I've heard horror stories about people finding mites in EcoEarth or other beddings. Thanks. No, I don't. I don't bake them. I don't do anything. I throw it in there and bam. Most of the time, mites don't come on those kind of things. Sometimes they'll come in like cypress mulch and stuff like that, but typically mites are on your reptile. If they're going to harm your reptile, that's probably where they come on. Like when you buy a new reptile at a store or something, they're likely coming off the reptile, not off the bedding. Next one comes from Killzone Productions. Do you like Guns N' Roses? Yes. Maximus Alcott says, what is your favorite sport and why? Hockey, because it's better than everything else. John Coombs, I don't know, says, how many shrimp do you have? I have like, I don't know, 30 or 40, something like that. I'm not really sure, to be honest. So I bought 30 originally, but I have no idea how many are left and how many have reproduced, and I have no clue. Maygal Carwin says, what do you do with your pets when you go on holiday? Any tips for leaving a bearded dragon alone? Horror stories / success about leaving them alone. I hope you are doing well. Thank you, I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. And as for, so when I go on holidays, my buddy that I'm actually looking after his house now looks after all my stuff. We pay him, of course, but yeah, that's what I do. I have a friend, a trustworthy friend that will come by. We also have cats, so he has to take care of them. But he has reptiles. He's fairly experienced. He's been doing it for several years for me. And yeah, that's kind of mine. And as for leaving bearded dragons alone, if it's only for a weekend, just throw in a big salad before you leave and some crickets and he'll be fine. He's not going to starve or die. Make sure he has a full bowl of water and your timers and everything are set to turn on and turn off when they're supposed to. As for horror stories and successes, honestly, I've had one die due to overheating because my house AC was not on. My room got way too hot and basically killed one of my leopard geckos. Success, pretty much everything else. He's looked after chameleon babies for me. He's done a bunch of different things for me. So overall, I have to call it a great success. So Quinn Adam has a few questions. So number 1 is, what is your favorite channel that is reptile related? Number 2 is, what do you dislike about owning so many herps? And number 3 is, how many hours per day does it take to do general care for your pet? For my favorite YouTuber, like reptile related YouTuber, it would have to be Camp Kennan. He's what I want to do, but I can't because I live A, at my parents' house right now, and B, I am in Canada, so it'd be a lot harder to do what he does. But Camp Kennan, I would love to meet him if I'm ever down in Florida again. I'm really hoping maybe we can work it out somehow. I don't know. But that is something that is like one of my dreams. What do I dislike about owning so many herps? I don't really have my own space, you know? Like, especially because I'm in my parents' house. I don't have like a dedicated area to playing video games and stuff. Like, I sit on a crap couch and play on like a stand. Like, I mean, that's fine. But I'd like to have like a desk set up with places that I can do my homework and stuff like that. So that's kind of what's bad about owning so much, but obviously it doesn't weigh out the positives or I wouldn't have as many. How many hours a day does it take for general care? Honestly, like 30 minutes maybe. I will hopefully soon have everybody on an automatic misting system, so that won't be any factor into time. That'll just do it automatically. And feeding takes maybe 5 minutes total for everyone. And then just like filling up water bowls, scooping out poop, that kind of thing, maybe takes another 5 minutes. Like, it really doesn't take long. And then, of course, like, I'll hold them and interact with them and stuff. So that's what takes the longest, really. Reptile Girl Lover 102 says, when did you start your collection? I don't like that word. It is not a collection. Every now and then I'll slip up and say it, but whenever I can, I try not to say it because it's not a collection. They're all my pets. They're all my animals. They're all, like, me, really. So now that we got that cleared up, I started it when I was like 8 years old. That's when I got my first lizard, and from then on, it's just built. It took me a couple years after that to get a second leopard gecko, and then from there, it just started to increase more and more and more and more and more. Ben Gaikowski? What is your opinion on Pac-Man frogs? Would you ever consider getting one or a collection? Great work on the videos, animals, plants, and all. Well, thank you very much, and I basically just answered that a couple questions ago. I'll do it very short. I think they're cool if you like them. I personally wouldn't have them. Patrick the Animal Guy says, how long have you been interested in animals and reptiles? Since I was like 2 years old. Like, ever since I was born, I've been into animals and I love them. Rooster Stanley Studios says, 1. Have any of your reptiles had injuries? 2. Have you considered breeding Tig or getting another crested gecko? 3. Does Sky brumate? 4. How do you look after your reptiles if you go away? 4. I just answered that. 3. Not really. He does slow down a little bit in the winter months, but he doesn't completely go into brumation. Would I ever consider breeding Tig? No. And have they ever had any injuries? Not severe, like maybe I didn't notice it, but not that I've noticed, no. Android 1598 says, has any of your reptiles had any kind of disease? If so, what kind and how did you fix it? Thanks for all the videos and entertainment. No, none of them have had any diseases, thank goodness. I think Stella might have like something with her scales, but it's not deadly, and I don't know how to fix it, to be honest. I think it's a vet trip, but honestly, I don't know what they can do either, so I'm not too worried about it. Kai Hal Noon says, would you ever consider keeping tropical fish? If so, will they be? If so, what will they be? I actually have kept tropical fish. If you look back maybe about a year from now in the reptile room tours, I do have a fish tank that was the 6-gallon fluval edge. I had a couple Galaxy Raspora, dwarf fire honey gouramis. I had a couple autocinkless cats, some shrimp, and a couple snails. So yeah, I have kept tropical fish. Will I keep them again? I don't know. There's not really any say. If and when I decide to break down the shrimp tank, I'll probably go to saltwater, just because I like having new hobbies, and I think that one would be a lot of fun to get in. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the reticulata. Joe Bond says, what is your favorite prehistoric creature, era, and why? Mine is the Liopleurodon, and my favorite era is the Permian. By the way, I love your vids. I think my favorite creature would probably be the Tiktaalik, or Tiktaalik. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce it, but it's really cool. And because I like him so much, I'm just going to pick his period as the era I like the most, I guess, and that would be the Devonian. Jake Hosking asks, have any of your family members ever had their own reptile? And that would be a sharp no, they have not. Jade Jackson says, would you ever get a Uromastic? If so, what kind? I actually was considering getting one a little while ago, and my favorite Uromastic that I know of is the Uromastics Thomasi. They're really, really cool. Hopefully I remember to put a picture somewhere and you guys can check them out, but they're really cool. Daniel Walker says, just wondering if anyone knows why my crested gecko isn't eating, why he can't seem to climb very well, and he's also having spasms on his legs and toes. He's about 18 months old and he's eating extremely well. I'd add in a little bit more calcium, use some electrolytes like Pedialyte for babies in his food when you're mixing it up. And if he can't climb very well, he's likely about to shed. That's kind of what happens to their toes when they are about to shed. They kind of lose their grip a little bit, so I wouldn't worry too much, but just making sure you're feeding him the right things, and yeah. The Hazard says, did you ever use Excavator? If you didn't, would you mind trying it, and do you think it's a good product for bearded dragons? Was thinking of getting some for mine. I think it's okay for bearded dragons. So I haven't used it in my personal collection, but I have used it at work before, and it's really nice for a beardy. It would be probably okay, so long as if you're actually making it into the clay. As just a general substrate, I probably wouldn't use it, but I mean, it's up to you. Alright, so I know he's been waiting for this because I was just answering his comments in one of the other videos. Zach Splat says, what plant can you put in a crested gecko tank? Also, are you thinking of doing natural terrarium for Tig? I'm thinking about it, not sure if I will or not. As for plants, if you go check out the Reptile Edges channel, which we're doing a contest with, by the way, if you're watching this, go check out that video or down in the description down below, and there should be a link there. Click that and enter the contest. As for crested gecko plants, watch one of his videos. It's a full list of crested gecko plants. Most of them are fine for them, but it's a complete list, so go check that out. Ethan Hughes says, how many pets do you have? It doesn't just mean what's in your room. How many reptiles, amphibian, fish, or even cats, dogs, if you have any, for the Q&A. I've answered that before in one of the other Q&As, but I have 2 cats, a brother, the blue tongue, so what are we at? 2 cats, a brother, blue tongue, 2 monitors, Kai, Sheldon, all the baby frogs, and then all the frogs, and then Turok and Tig. With all that added together, I'm sure it's somewhere around 30, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not going to add it up right now. Next question comes from Sir Dolan. He says, a while back I suggested this video idea, but I guess you never got to it. I think it would be a cool video. However, I was wondering what you would feel is an underrated reptile to care for. If you decide to still make a video about this, you could do 3 or so lizards, snakes, amphibs. I think there's a lot. I think a lot of the dwarf mountain dragons are really underrated. While I don't have any myself, I think they're really cool. I think blue-tongued skinks are super underrated. I think they deserve a lot more attention. I mean, as for everything else, like, I think dart frogs are underrated. I don't think a lot of people have really considered them as pets, and they are amazing. So, I don't know, maybe I can make a whole video about it, but I figured I'd just mention it in this video. Pointless English Vlog says, do you think there's a good idea to introduce a license for reptile keeping? And will your baby frogs fight if still together when adults, like different species? I don't think they'll fight. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think so. As for introducing a license for keeping reptiles, I think that is absolutely crazy. And for some reptiles, of course, that makes sense. Like for some of the larger boas and like larger snakes and larger lizards, I guess, I mean, it could be a decent idea to have licenses for them and know what you're getting into. But for most reptiles, I think that is completely ridiculous. HPD7D says, do you like animated shows like The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, or Rick and Morty, etc.? Honestly, no. I don't really watch pretty much any TV. I watch Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, and that's pretty much it. So I don't watch any Simpsons or Family Guy or any of that kind of thing. Jack Stratman says, okay, I have 3 questions. Number 1, how long can a crested gecko go without their cage being sprayed? Number 2, what do you do with all your reptiles if you go on vacation? Number 3, do you have any other pets except reptiles? Number 1, how long can they go? I mean, I wouldn't go more than a day. Honestly, I'd say twice a day typically. What do I do with my reptiles when I go on vacation? I answered that already. And number 3, do you have any other pets? And yes, I have 2 cats. That's it. Spritz Agar says, what would you say how to start out with reptiles? Like, what do you do when you go to school and they don't get fed? What would you predict? What would I predict? I don't know. I don't really know what that means, but when you go to school, they're fine. Like, they're not going to die without you. You just feed them before school, and if you have, like, chameleons and things that need higher humidity, just have an automatic misting system for while you're at school. So I'm going to do this name once. Hi, my name is Tim. Hi, my name is Timmy. I think that's right, but do you have any siblings? If so, do they like reptiles? Yes, it's kind of complicated. I have 1 that I live with and 2 like half brother and half, or 1 half brother, 1 half sister. Because I am adopted, they're like my birth mom's kid with a different person than me, like than my like actual biological dad. But none of them have reptiles. The 2 half brother and sister, they both love reptiles. They don't have any, but my brother that I actually live with, like my actual brother, he doesn't really care too much about them. Like, he doesn't hate them, he doesn't love them. Sonky Schreiber, do you like mantises and dwarf geckos because I got a Williams eye? Yes, I love dwarf geckos, I love Williams eyes. I would like mantises, but primarily to feed to my chameleons. Sorry, they're a good food source. J.R. Mac. 1, what do you think about getting something big, like a savanna monitor or a tegu? 2, it's not about reptiles or plants, but what do you think of the film Suicide Squad? 3, do you and your girlfriend think about living together? So, Savannah Monitor, Tegu, I like both of them, don't have enough room for them. The film Suicide Squad, I am super excited for. I think that is going to be an amazing movie. And do we ever think about living together? We're both in university right now, so if we're still together after university, then yeah, I'm sure we would move in together. Elliot Baber says, "Hi Mike, would you ever want to start a business in the future?" Which is linked to botany, reptiles, aquatics, if not why. I think it'd be really cool to open a business. I don't really know if that's what's going to happen. I might open one later down the road, like when I'm older, like much older. Why? Because I think I want to work like in conservation or something like that. So I think I can do more with that than I could with like a store. However, in the future, who knows? Maybe I can open a store. I would love to. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but it's just so much work, and it's basically your whole life. When you're the owner of a business, that is you. While you think it might be super easy and laid back, especially with like mom and pop shops, like if you don't own friggin' Apple, then you're gonna be doing a lot of work. Like the mom and pop shops do everything by themselves. They don't have a CEO and all this stuff. It's just them. Alexei Spacekey? Yikes. What do you do with your reptiles when you're on vacation? I've already answered that. KMJ Pets says, if you could go back in time and change your care with an animal, what would you change? Probably my care of Kazi, the leopard gecko that died. I would try and get back what I lost with that. So I would try and make sure my room didn't overheat. Dana Cable says, can you update us more on your shrimp and regular carbon lilies still blue? Yes, I can. My shrimp are doing really well right now. The carbon lilies are blue and black. However, they can produce lots of different morphs. I have some culls in there that need to be gone that are kind of green. So, yeah. They're just very variable in their colors. Max Paul says, what is your favorite reptile that you have or don't? How old are you? My favorite reptile that I have, I like them all. I've answered it before. Honestly, it's probably Sheldon. That's just, or Bowser, one of the two. As for how old am I am 20. Brandon Portillo says, Mike, what is your favorite animal? My favorite animal in general, I don't think I can boil it down. I really like primates. I really like reptiles. I like pretty much everything. Like, I can't narrow it down to just one animal, I'm sorry. Malachi Sutherland says, 1, what is your favorite reptile to handle / let out? 2, will you ever make a herping video even though you're in Calgary area? 3, what is your top 5 favorite reptiles as well as top 5 favorite amphibians? 4, do you breed your feeders or buy them at the pet store? What do you think is better? I think if you have the time and space, you can breed them. A lot of like the exotic feeders are illegal here, so I don't do that. So I do buy them every week. I buy 500 crickets every week. Top 5 favorite reptiles and amphibians. Amphibians all have to be dart frogs. Like I don't really know that many amphibians. Top 5 reptiles have to be like Australian water dragons. Field dragons are really cool. All tortoises. All monitors. And there's so many. Sailfin dragons. I don't know. Will I ever make a herping video? Chances are I won't. Maybe if I go down to like Florida or somewhere exotic, maybe I will, but not likely. And what is my favorite reptile to let out? Would be probably Bowser or Sheldon, even though if Sheldon's on the ground, he just runs for your feet and gives them a good chomping. AWB12 Exotics says, 1, which of your reptiles would look best in a bioactive setup? 2, will I ever breed blue tongues? Will I ever breed blue tongues? Maybe. I think it would be cool, but I'm not sure. And what would look best? I don't know, maybe like a chameleon outside? I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Mr. Get Wrecked. Do you ever forget about the pet that died? Why do you or why don't you? Thanks, a nice video. I don't want to say you forget, but you kind of do. You never actually forget, but it doesn't really affect me anymore. Like, yeah, of course Rango dying really sucks, but that was a chapter in my life. It's over now, and we move forward. I still remember pretty much everything that has died, so they don't really go away, but just like the sad and sorrow goes. IDK says, what made you want to get into the passion of reptiles, and what made you think these animals are so cool? How long do you plan to keep all of them, and how long do you plan on keeping reptiles? And last, what do you hope to do when you're older? Also, I love your videos. I sub. So I've answered the like when I get older question. Honestly, it started when I was just a little kid, and I hope to keep them for the whole rest of my life. So, and the whole rest of their lives. Kyle Rivard asks 3 different questions. He says, do you hate the laws for owning reptiles in Canada as much as I do? What made you choose dart frogs as your main collecting animal? What is your first choice for plants and plant seeds online? Canada sources are best. Plant seeds, there's a lot of them. I like Reimer seeds. They're in the States, but they ship to Canada. As for like the other ones, Rare Exotic Seeds is great. I believe they're out of Montreal. The dart frogs is my main collecting animal. They're not really a collection, but look at their tanks and look how small those are. Everything else is huge in this room, and I just like how they can have a smaller setup and absolutely look. And the laws for owning reptiles in Canada, I mean, your laws are probably a lot less strict than our laws out here, so while they suck, they're could be worse. Alright, so James Mallet asks, if you could own any animal, nothing is a problem, cage food legal or not to own, what would it be? Honestly, I don't think I have an answer for this question. Like, there's so many things that I would want, but then at the same time, it's like I'd rather them just be in the wild. That's kind of what it boils down to. J-Dog Guy, I think that's probably what you're trying to say. Do you breed your insects or buy them for your reptiles? I just answered that, I buy them. Clay Parmley says, even with new addition, will you get another veiled chameleon? If you lived in a better area, would you herp for wild animals? Yes, I probably would herp for wild animals, and I still hope to get a female for either Kai or Turok. Ernie012 Gaming says, how did you get good at YouTube? 18,488 subs. And how long have you been interested in reptiles and amphibians? So I've already answered that a long time, since I was a little kid. And just because I like to make YouTube videos, I guess. Shane Riley says, who is your biggest idol in the reptile hobby? Why? Currently, that is still alive, probably Camp Kennan, and before that, it was Steve Irwin, by far. Lyndon Carver says, have you ever considered aquatic turtles? Have you ever looked into axolotls? What would your parents think about your herps? Do they support your hobby? Yes, they support my hobby, otherwise I wouldn't have all this. My dad doesn't really care, my mom likes them quite a lot. Axolotls, I know about them, I know how to care for them, I probably would never own them myself. And aquatic turtles, pretty much the same thing. I know about them, I have looked at them, but I don't really want them for me. Avery Tilley says, what is the best part about living in Canada versus the United States? I mean, some people will take this different ways than others, but we don't have a lot of gun issues here. I know that in the States, that's a whole nother can of worms. I don't want to get into it, but we don't really have... We have very strict gun laws, and there's not that much like gun violence going on here. As for like living conditions and stuff, we have free healthcare. I know you guys have Obamacare, but our healthcare is probably just as good, if not better. Probably better. Honestly, they're both beautiful places to live. Canada is a little bit colder, so if you're into reptile keeping like I am, it kind of sucks because I want to keep them outside, but you can't. Other than that, I mean, that's... I don't know. Like, there's a lot of pros and cons for both. King Aladon Sanders says, are you still thinking about getting a saltwater tank because that would be awesome? I've already answered that. Yes. Just a piece of cake 14. Does your girlfriend have any reptiles? If so, what? Also, what have you found is the hardest species to keep / care for? It could be plant or animals. My girlfriend doesn't have any reptiles. And the hardest one that I currently own is probably like the carnivorous plants, to be honest. Audrey Claire says, when do you think you'll lose interest in your and what will you do with your current ones? Hopefully never. I don't really see me getting tired of it. So hopefully I won't have to do anything with my current ones. Kean Williams says, 1, does your girlfriend share your passion for reptiles and or amphibians? If she does own any, what does she have? I just answered that. 2, if it were possible, would you ever consider owning a venomous / dangerous, etc. cobra, gator, reptile, amphibian? If so, what would it be? I probably wouldn't, to be honest. I don't really care for them that much. Like, I would own like bigger snakes and bigger monitors, which I guess could be dangerous, but as for like venomous, I don't really have any interest in it. Vincent McNair says, can we have a tour of your workplace? I would love to make one of Pisces. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I would love to make one. Alex S. says, would you ever try composting for your plants? Yes, I probably will in the future. Hike with Mike says, I don't have time to watch all your videos, but I enjoy your channel a lot. My question is, have thought of expanding the fish aquarium? So have you thought of expanding the fish aquarium genre? I think you would really dig having mud skippers. I used to have half water, half land tank, and the mud skippers were a lot of fun. They used to be so common that eventually were hand-fed. I probably would never keep mud skippers, but As for like expanding the aquarium genre of everything, I really hope to get a saltwater tank in the future. I've already said that. Juan Rodriguez says, where does your family originate from and how old is the drinking age in Canada? The drinking age where I live is 18, the rest of Canada is 19. Where does your family originate from? England? God, I don't know. And I know he's been waiting for this for a long time, but Ann101 Red has 6 questions for me, so I'm just going to go rapid fire, no exclamation, just an answer off the top of my head. So 1, what is your favorite reptile YouTuber? Camp Kennan. Who is your favorite non-reptile YouTuber? Probably Casey Neistat or Woody's Gamertag. 3, have you ever been interested in photography / DSLRs? Yes, I do hope to get another one pretty soon, and then I can make this videos and potentially vlogs in the future all nice and crispy. 4, what is the next realistic reptile pet you want? Female veiled or female Jacksons or both. 5, what is the next reptile you would get if money was no object? Probably the most expensive tree monitor out there. Simple. 6, can I borrow all of your subscribers? I need them for something. Lol, JK. Mixmania03 says, what reptile supplier do you recommend? There's way too many to name. Like, I'm sorry. Do you have tattoos? If so, what? If not, what would you get or none at all? I don't have tattoos. I probably would get some in the future. Honestly, I haven't really thought too much about it, but if so, let's be real, they'd probably be reptiles. Ninja Nightwing, aka Cringe, says, what superpowers would you have no cheating your way around, like saying morphing? And 2, if you could mix any 2 species of animal together, what would they be? By the way, don't need to be compatible, so you could mix mammals and reptiles if you want. Honestly, I don't have enough time to think about that. There's a lot of things I would do, but there's also a lot of things I wouldn't do. As for the superpower, I don't know, like flying. Not like weak-ass flying, though. Like, it would have to be really fast. Or, like, super strength, honestly. I'm kind of boring like that. That's probably what I would do. Maybe, like, morphing through walls and through objects. Like, you could walk through things and see things, but I don't know. Squeegee Reptiles again says, would you save your reptiles in a tornado, earthquake, or any natural disaster? If so, how? If you could only save one, which would it be? I'm not going to narrow that down to one because I would never do that. I'd try and grab them all. As for tornadoes, earthquakes, and natural disasters, honestly, I don't really have to worry about any of those here because we're on the other side of the Rocky Mountains and there's not much risk of anything. But if it did, I would just pack them up all in my containers and different things I have lying around. Chelsea Gunner says, have you thought about getting any other pets besides reptiles? Yes, I have, like dogs, cats, that kind of thing. Furry animals, bunnies, hamsters, mice, all that kind of thing. Hell no, because those are snake food, not pets. I'm sorry, that is going to sound very harsh and will probably offend a lot of you, but honestly, I don't see any of those animals as pets. Matt Dockham says, will you ever be getting any other frogs in the future, such as red-eyed tree frogs or monkey frogs? Will you ever get a set-up saltwater tank? I've answered that before. I really hope to. I would love to get some waxy monkey frogs. In the near future, I don't really see that becoming a thing, but who knows. Alright, you guys, so I gotta head out to work really soon here, so I'm just gonna kick it up a notch, and the answers from here on out are gonna be very snappy. Clément Lepelli said, it would be awesome to hear a bit about your education and where you hope to take yourself in the future. How did you come to be studying what you're studying, and what do you hope to do as a career? I hate to cut that comment short, but I have already answered it. Tanner White says, what made you get into reptiles, and what would get you out of reptiles? I don't think there's really much that could get me out. Maybe literally everything just dropping dead like that with no explanation. That would probably get me pretty close, but even then, I probably still wouldn't get out of it. And get into reptiles would be just my influences growing up. Friends, family, Steve Irwin, that kind of thing. Reptile Jones says, favorite food? Probably jambalaya. Says, milk chocolate, white chocolate, or dark chocolate? Milk chocolate. His dream job? Probably a herpetologist or a conservationist doing stuff for, like, reptile ecology. Favorite fast food restaurant? Probably Five Guys. Blonde or brunette? Either. I guess my girlfriend is brunette, so I kind of have to say brunette. Is there a limit to how many questions I can ask? Not going to answer that, because you've already asked like 80. He's still going, friends. Dream destination? Probably Australia. Pepsi or Coke? Coke. Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Wars by far. The Chameleon Keeper 05 says, can you open a P.O. box? What is your favorite video game? I know you've said this already, but Snapchat, question mark? I need to see this in person. So, P.O. Box, I really want to. I'm going to try and see if I can maybe open an American one. And then that way it makes it kind of easier for all you guys to send me things. 2, what is my favorite video game? Probably The Last of Us is very up there for me. And 3, Snapchat, I'm really hoping to get in the very near future, so stay tuned. Jake's Reptile says, 1, when are you going to get a snake? 2, what is the future of this channel? 3, what got you into reptiles? 4, will you be opening a P.O. box so I can send you stuff? I already answered the P.O. box question. I already answered the got into reptiles question. What is the future of this channel? Probably more reptiles and plants. Possibly vlogs and some like nicer style videos. I don't really know. And when are you going to get a snake? Whenever I move. Ventus Terra says, have you ever bred some European animal? If so, what? If no, what would you like? Greetings from Poland. I don't think I have. And if I have, I would love it to be my tortoise. Junior in Brit's community. How old are you? 20. Have you ever been to the USA? Yes, several times. What is your favorite reptile? I've already answered that. What is your favorite plant? I answered that in one of the other videos. What other hobbies do you or are you interested in doing? Saltwater keeping, art, I should really get back into, and playing video games. Do you ever plan on getting any snake when you have your own place? Yes. Big Labrie. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? Probably the States, honestly. Like, for all things considered, they're the most, like, open for reptile and feeder breeding. They are very open for a lot of different things. Like, I would say Australia, but then you can only keep Australian reptiles. So, there's a lot of things to consider when moving. If I just went for, like, pure destination, probably Australia. If not, like New Zealand or something. Cole's Gecko says, where did you buy that Exoterra rack? I bought it from a friend. Good luck getting one. They pretty much only give them or sell them to, like, retail stores. Tropical Derp says, hey Mike, I was just wondering, what are you studying at university? What are your plans for the future? Keep up the awesome videos. I've already said that, so you've already seen it. Arab Hassam says, do you know why dubias are illegal here? Because I'm sure they're scared of them being an infestation, even though they wouldn't. Have you ever used mealworms as a feeder? Yes, I have. Not as a regular feeder, though. What does your girlfriend think about all your reptiles? She thinks that I should slow down, but that's not going to happen. Let's be real. And, but she likes them. 3, Crested Gecko or Gargoyle Gecko, but I'm trying to decide between the 2. I don't know. Gargs, I guess? I don't know. They're cool to me. Samuel Pond USA or Pondusa. I don't know if it's all one name or what. Are you opening a P.O. box, and will you also be getting any new cool additions in the near future? Well, since you've answered that, I have gotten some new frogs. I hope to get a couple different things later on. As for P.O. box, yes, I'm almost at that 20,000 mark, and probably around 20,000 subscribers, I will be opening a P.O. box. Haven't really worked out the details yet, but I'll let you know when I do. Alright, and the last question for the Q&A is, have you ever thought about getting into aquascaping? And yes, I have. I just have way too many other things going on in my life right now to actually, like, get into that. So, there you go. Anyways, guys, that wraps up the video. I know it's been a really long video, probably like an hour long. I don't think I'm going to split this up into several parts, so if you made it to the very end of the video, drop a like down below, leave the comment jackfruit in the comment section down below, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to stay tuned for the rest of May Madness, we only got a couple days left, so be sure to stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Have a good one, guys. Graphic Phoenix, howdy.